ever persistent. Like he said, I track the remnants of that dream everywhere I go in my never-ending ride into the setting sun. A never-ending ride, or man's eternal quest. So, from there we're going to bring it down a bit. We're going to go back to our toolbox because I was wrong on willpower. I said that the definition of willpower should be that which changes thought into energy. That which changes thought into energy. But if you think about it, thought is a form of energy. So willpower, if we correct in our toolbox, is that which changes thought from an internal energy into an external energy. So you may have the thought, I need to get out of the bed, I need to get out of these warm blankets, I need to go to work. It is willpower that causes you to get up, right? It changes that internal energy of thought into something that manifests in creation. When Sankara says that the world of thought and matter is not real, he does not mean that it is non-existent. The apparent world is and is not. The state of ignorance, which is our everyday consciousness, it is experienced, and it exists as it appears. In the state of illumination or enlightenment, it is not experienced, and it ceases to exist. A person, therefore, in a state of enlightenment would not have to see the world, but would live just beyond it in the eternal peace, the eternal love that exists just beyond this planet. Sankara does not regard any experience as non-existent as long as it is experienced. I think, therefore I am. But he very naturally draws a distinction between the private illusion of the individual and the universe, or world illusion. The former he calls illusory, the latter he calls phenomenal. For example, man's dreams are his own private illusions. When he wakes, they cease. But the universal illusion, the illusion of world phenomena, continues throughout a man's whole waking life unless he becomes aware of the truth through knowledge of Brahman. Sankara makes also a further distinction between the two kinds of illusion and those ideas which are altogether unreal and imaginary, which represent a total impossibility or a flat contradiction in terms, such as the idea of the son of a barren woman. Alright, so now we're on to the major topics. Willpower done. So, the universe is real, or as real as we make it. Existence is existence when it's experienced. Quantum physics tells us that nothing can exist unless something observes it. There has to be consciousness to have reality. There has to be some form of reality or some form of something to concentrate on to have consciousness. So we're going to talk about the three major planes of consciousness that correspond to different guiding forces or principles. Alright, and at this point, forces or principles, I couldn't decide which one was right, because human language is very clumsy. And we especially need to be aware of how clumsy human language is in our relationships with others. What we've been going over from the last 2 lessons, where human language is how we communicate, how we talk. And men and women speak differently. Men are generally guided by reason, women generally guided by emotion, and we have to make a sincere effort to bridge the gap in communication. Now, this isn't always true. I'm more feminine. The women I like are more masculine, but there still is a difference in how we communicate, and therefore we have to make the effort to bridge that gap if we want to have lasting relationships. If you want a lasting relationship, you have to make the effort to communicate. This is what I need from you. This is how you can accomplish it. Don't just say, like in the story we read, don't just say, I need more affection, and not give options. Say, I need more affection. When you come home, kiss me. And if 6-second kiss is not long enough, what should you do? Say something. Say, that was not long enough. I need 8 seconds at least, minimum. Okay? So we start where we are, on the low end. One time, a disciple asked Master, Master, is there such a thing as hell? And he said, where do you think you are? The physical is the lowest plane, grossest vibration. It's the dream world we're most accustomed to. Now, like Sankara said, there are 2 kinds of dreams, just like there are 2 kinds of souls. There is the individual's dream, right? The dreams we have at night. And then there is the higher dream of all of our consciousnesses combined to make this world around us. There is the astral plane, which is composed instead of gross material objects. The astral plane is composed entirely of light. Your soul is beautiful when seen from the astral plane. Everyone's is. Once Master stood in front of a group of sincere seekers and just stared at them. And eventually he'd say, if you only knew how beautiful you are. Astral is composed of light. This is, in the first sense, heaven. If you picture heaven as an almost physical place, you would go to the astral plane. If you dream, you are generally going, you are shutting off the body, you're shutting off the senses, and you're going to a lower portion of the astral plane. There is a dark and a light side of the astral plane, just like there's a negative here and a positive there. This portion still hasn't overcome duality in the astral plane. So people who do die and had done horrible things will go to a portion of the astral plane where they will suffer and pay for whatever they have done, and then be reincarnated into the physical body to try and overcome whatever negative habits and tendencies they have. We all have habits and tendencies that are derived from seeds that we plant in our consciousness, and those seeds grow up under favorable conditions, and they could be past life tendencies, they could be present life tendencies, and we have to use our toolbox, introspection, discrimination, to try and figure out, all right, these are the things I should do, these are the things I should avoid. And then my favorite, mainly because this word's so rarefied, ideational. And if you can see, this is composed entirely of ideas. When I was early on in my path, I'd think of what we have here, and then I'd think of the astral as these glowing, beautiful beings wandering in the gardens with flowers of colors you couldn't even imagine. And then I'd imagine the ideational world of just pure consciousness, utterly abstract, no form, just thought. So this is the entirely creative, finest vibration of the consciousness of God. This is the muse and source of all of our art, our dreams. Everything that is comes from the ideational spheres. Nothing was made that was not made by him. And in Sanskrit, we have exactly what Jesus taught. We have Satyam Param, which is the ideational, going the other way. Satyam Param is the Father. That is the creative aspect of God. We have Tat Param, which is also known as the Christ or Krishna consciousness. Go old school here. Krishna consciousness. This is the only Son of God. Not to say that it is the only manifestation of God in one body. This is the manifestation of God's intelligence throughout the universe. Everything has a spark of the divine intelligence within it. This is that spark of the divine intelligence that Jesus was in contact with when he said, I and my Father are one. This is what he was in contact with. This is how he meant, I and my Father are one. My Father is with me. Krishna, same thing. And then the Om, it's the Om, that guy, in Sanskrit. It's the Amen from the Egyptians and later into Christianity, and it's called the Hum to the Tibetans. And this is the vibration of God. This is also the Holy Ghost. But if you think, during the Dark Ages when Jesus taught, there was no understanding of what a vibration was. There was no understanding of energy, electricity. So the Holy Ghost is the Spirit of God, which is the vibration manifest in all objects. So Satyam corresponds to the creative Father. Tat Param is the light that guides everything. And Om is the physical manifestation of that vibration throughout creation. And just like the Rishis said, all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration. Same in quantum physics, everything is merely a vibration or a wave. Any questions there? Are we at about 20? Right,
13.
13? Alright, I can do this in 7. This one I think we should write down. Alright, lights out. Turn the light on here. Alright. I'm going to start this with transience of atoms. Some of you may have already heard this one, but bears repeating. Every atom that makes your face, at least the flesh, if you were to leave and I not see you in Mondo, or I haven't seen Mondo in 2 years? About 2 years. So not one atom in his flesh is the same as it was the last time I saw him. Few of the atoms in his bones are the same as the last time I saw him. Every 6 to 12 years, not one atom that makes you up, depending on your metabolism, is the same. We are more like rivers than solids. We are a dream vessel that carries our souls. Right? That's the transience of atoms thing. And ignore this, like I was just doing some editing. I fixed it. So human relationships carry over into our relationship with God. So the problem then becomes that if we have a lot of negativity in our relationships with humans, we are going to translate that negativity into our relationship with God. And the main problem we have is that we are innately aware. It's just there. You can feel it. I am innately aware. Like when you're hungry, you just know you're hungry. We're innately aware of our latent desire. Latent means it's buried back there. It needs dug out, and I need to get to it. Our latent desire for a perfect relationship, and are therefore unable to reconcile the absence we feel because we do not have it. We all want to have a relationship that is perfect. All the movies teach us that there should be a relationship that's perfect. All the romances, all the great tragedies are caused because they don't exist. Humans cannot be perfect. So, we're seeking this perfect relationship, and then what do? We try to get that need filled from an external source. And what happens? Human beings aren't perfect. They can barely get along with themselves. How can you expect perfection from another human? You can't. But what I would suggest, if you want to have a lasting relationship, start with your physical desires for that relationship. Start with the physical desires for that relationship now. So mine are simple, but I like simple. I need a woman who has a beautiful smile, who is smart, funny, and has a beautiful smile. And a nice booty, don't hurt. Similarity of interests. I have to be able to go out and do the crazy things I love to do with you. I want you to be almost more involved in the crazy things I do than I am. That way I'm more inspired to do them. So someone who has similarity of interests is going to be the foundation, and someone you can physically get along with, the foundation of a relationship. And then similarity of spiritual ideals. If you are a devout Christian and they are an atheist, there's going to be a problem. If you are an atheist and they are a fanatical Muslim, you two are not going to get along. The sex may be great, but that doesn't matter, right? What matters is a lasting, loving, earnest relationship. But then it gave me a side note there. Don't go for someone who is entirely too similar, because you will learn nothing new. Be open-minded. If she has different taste in music, if he has different taste in music, maybe you should listen to it. You might like it. You know, this person has caught your interest, so maybe they can teach you something. Be open-minded above all else. Alright, so next toolbox item we have is very important, and it goes right back to what we're talking about with sexual relationships. We have to learn moderation. Moderation is important because when we get to the chakras, I'll go into this a little deeper, we are talking about the energy we are using up. And if we use the energy in the lower chakras, which are the sexual desires, the overeating desires, the anal controlling desires, then we are using our energy in a negative way. But if we can transmute that energy into loving, heartfelt words, healing kindness, thoughtful expression, then we are transmuting lower desires into soul desires and are actually going to make spiritual progress.